This year, 2014, this is the 20th year of Hope Start service in the Borough of Woking. And in those years, we've supported over 1,500 families. That is to say, families with about 3,500 young children below the age of 5. And I think we can say with complete confidence that the support that our volunteers have provided has led to a positive and often life-changing effect on those families in question. And if you take the evidence, that strongly suggests that our support helps our families lead more confident and independent lives and diverts them from the potential need for intervention from social services or others of the statutory services. An important aspect of the preventative work that Home Start does. So this meeting provides us with an opportunity to talk about the work we're doing. You'll hear from one of our volunteers today, and you'll also hear from one of the families we support. And I'd just like to take a few moments to reflect on some of the milestones for us in Woking and actually some of the challenges for the future. On January the 1st this year, we entered a contract with Surrey County Council to provide early years support to young families across the county. But in our case, of course, in Woking. We were required to establish Home Start Surrey to provide a single point of contact. And while we're very pleased to have the relative security of the contract until early 2016, the outcome of this contract for us is a reduction in County Council annual income to each individual scheme. And this is an ongoing trend of a gradual reduction in the funding that we receive, as do other Home Start schemes, from public sector sources. It's instructive to compare just 6 years ago, 2006-07, with the current year. In that year, we received £58,500 from Surrey County Council and from the Primary Care Trust. You will remember the dear departed Primary Care Trust, which with other fundraising efforts meant that we had an active group of 37 volunteers, and in the year supported almost 70 families. So £58,500 6 years ago was from statutory services. In the current year, this income has dropped to £39,000 from Surrey, but we're very pleased and very grateful that Woking Borough has come up with a grant which we're in the third year of, which provides £7,500. But nonetheless, the public sector funding that we will receive this year is £13,000 lower than it was 6 to 7 years ago. And that has a direct effect on the number of volunteers we can train and manage and supervise, which in turn means that we're currently running with around 25 volunteers. The need for our service remains very high and arguably is growing. In that same year, where we had 37 volunteers, we had 55 referrals. Last year, with 25 volunteers, we had 77 referrals. And obviously, we weren't able to support all of those families. So while the income we receive from statutory sources is going down, it would appear that the need for the support that our volunteers provide is going up. Just a thought, Trudy. Now, we don't expect any reversal of this trend, and we face a very challenging and competitive funding environment in terms of actual fundraising. But I would like to just thank all the people in this room and elsewhere who are associated with our scheme for their efforts they make in fundraising and general promotional activity of the work we do. You might have seen in the paper yesterday, there was a small group of us walked around the borough to celebrate 20 kilometres for 20 years of Woking's work. We met lots of lovely people in the street, many of whom had never heard of us, but some, of course, who had. So we're very grateful to all of those people who are involved, and I can only say that with the background I've just described, the need for our work will be at least as great in the future. Unfortunately, this year we submitted our second bid to the big lottery, this time in combination with our neighbours in Spelthorne, Runnymede and Surrey Heath, and we were unsuccessful. That's quite a blow, because for those of you who've been involved with it, you'll know how much work goes into these things. And it was a very considerable disappointment that for the second year we didn't make it. However, our trustees are determined to do our very best to maximise the support we can give to families in the borough by the more effective use of our resources. And our first move is to consider ways that we can work together with our colleagues. We'll be doing training together, starting from now actually, and we're looking at other ways of doing it. But we might well need to go further, and we're planning to combine our resources fully with our neighbours in Runnymede, potentially allowing us to operate out of one site rather than two, with a single office, and making the very best use of our staff resources. The only motivation for doing this, and these conversations that are taking place, is to make the best possible use of our own resources and to provide our highly valued service to the maximum number of families possible in the Borough of Woking.